In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to make your knife throw and damage other players. And if you noticed, we can see the knife have some angular velocity as it leaves our hand. Just like that. So, let's get started.
These videos and tutorials are mostly small sections taken out of our entire course. At Griffin Learning, we make awesome games in Python, such as Tetris, Space Invaders, Snake. And we make games in Roblox, like FPS shooters, horror, action-adventure, and more. We don't just tell you what to do, we teach you everything you need to know, so that you can create your own unique games. If you're interested, please visit Griffin Learning to find out more.
Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to go into your knife tool, hit the drop down arrow. You want to copy all of these things you put inside of it, the 4 parts, copy it, and paste it into your workspace. Okay, now there should be a second one, and what you want to do is you want to go into the Model tab and hit Union. So now all of these parts are into a single one called a union part, and you can just right click it, rename it into knife, and let's put this into our server storage. There we go. And while we're at it, we can just hit the plus button. We're also going to add a trail effect to our knife as we throw it. So add in a trail, and you want to add in 2 attachments. Call the first one attachment 1, and the second one attachment 2. And all you have to do now is to attachment 1 in the position for the x-axis, make that -1, and for number 2, make it +1 for the position in the x-axis. Then in your trail effect, you can click for attachment 0, click attachment 0, and then click attachment 1. Do the same thing for attachment 1, click attachment 2. Okay, that all should be completed, and now you guys can just change the color to whatever you want. I'll leave it at white, but you guys can change that. Okay, now we're ready to get started on the scripts. So what you guys can do is go into your knife tool that's in the workspace and add in a remote event. We're going to call this remote event throw knife and add in 2 scripts. One will be a local script for the client, and another will be a normal script for the server. Because how the knife's going to work is that we're going to detect the knife from the mouse position from the client side and pass that into the server side. For the local script, let's rename this to knife client, and the server script, let's rename this to knife knife script. Oh, we can just call it knife. Okay, now we can go into knife client and we can get started working on this. First thing you want to do is you want to get the mouse. So we'll do local mouse equals game.players.local player get mouse. And then we're going to do a cooldown just like we did in our other games for how many times we can throw the knife before a cooldown is up. Let's set it to false first, and then we're going to do script.parent.activated. And how activated works is I can pull that up really quick, is that the tool has to be equipped, and basically the activated event fires when a player clicks while a tool is equipped. So it combines both the equipped and when the player basically clicks his mouse button. So this is perfect for what we want to do. So let's type that. And for our next part, we can type connect function. Okay, we're going to type if cooldown is equal to false, then cooldown equals true. Script.parent, wait for child, grab the remote event over here, so throw knife. Fire the server. We're going to give it the mouse.hit, and we're going to give it the handle position. Okay, we're going to wait a certain time. I'm going to make it 0.5 just for testing purposes, and then set cooldown equal to false. And there we go. So now we can test this out by right under here. We can just type print high. So whenever we grab the tool, equip it, and click, it should print high to the console. And once you guys spawn in, it says print hello world. That's from the server script I forgot to remove, so you guys can ignore that. But when we grab our knife and we click our mouse button, it should say hi in the client, which is perfect. So we know the client is actually working and it prints hi onto the console. Let's remove that print hi and we can move on to the server. Over here, we can type local tool equals script.parent local knife equals game.serverstorage .knife. Okay, and that's grabbing the knife we made from the union part in the server storage. Then we're going to grab the remote event. So wait for child, row knife. Okay, now we can actually start with the onServer event function. So onServer event, whenever that event fires from the client, we're going to start this function. Player, mouse position, and hand position. Enter. So the first thing is we're going to do is that when we throw the knife, it's actually going to make the hand, the knife on the hand transparent. And this way it'll look like the knife is actually being thrown. For parentheses, we have an error right here, and I meant to have a period instead of a colon, and I should fix that. But for underscore part in iPairs, script.parent get children do. If part is a base part, so we're checking if anything within the tool is a base part, then set its transparency equal to 1. Okay, and then we want to go under here. We're going to make a clone of the knife, so knife clone, and then we want to set the C frame equal to a new C frame from the hand position and the mouse position. Okay, then we want to set this to the workspace. So knife clone dot parent equals workspace. Okay, then we want to also set the body velocity. Okay, this is what's going to launch the knife from our hand. So instance.new body velocity. We're going to set this body velocity equal to the knife clone dot C frame and get its look vector, because then this is in vector 3, and we'll multiply that by 75. Okay, this is the speed of the knife being thrown. So you can change the 75 to make it faster or slower, however you like. And then we can want to make sure we parent this to the knife clone. Okay, now we're actually going to make the knife twirl while it's in the air. So it's actually a knife that's being thrown. So we can do local body angular velocity equals instance.new body angular velocity, and then body angular velocity dot angular velocity equals knife clone C frame vector to world space. And make sure you have a dot instead of a colon right before C frame, and then set it to a new vector, so vector 3 dot new -400 0 0. Okay, and then let's set this parent equal to the knife clone, just like that. Okay, now we're also going to give it a range before the knife disappears. So we're going to give it knife, get the service for the debris, add the item of the knife clone, and I'm going to make it disappear after 2 seconds. Range of the knife thrown. Okay. Now we can make sure we have the touch, we end the touch event, just like that. And then we can actually start making the, when it touches a humanoid. So basically, if touch.parent, find first child, humanoid, and touch.parent is not equal to script.parent, then. So basically it's saying if it finds a human and its parent is not the person it's being thrown. Okay? If finds a person with a humanoid and it's not the player throwing. So basically you don't damage yourself. And we're gonna say touch.parent.humanoid take damage, and you can set this to a number you'd like. I'm gonna do 35, and I'll do knife clone destroy. This way, the same knife can't damage the same player multiple times as it's traveling into the player. Okay, and then I'm gonna give it we're gonna give it a wait time before the knife reappears on our hand, So I'm going to use the same one as 2, just so it looks like the knife is coming back onto your hand. And we can just copy this exact line to make our hand transparent, and paste this in and set this equal to 0. Okay, but that should be it. So we can try this really quick. And once you spawn in, you can grab the knife and you can throw it. Just like that. There's one thing we need to fix though, and it's that we can throw it at objects and it bounces off of it. So we can just change that very easily by setting the can collide to false and the knife within the server storage. And there's one more error I want to show you guys. If you noticed that when we throw the knife, there's a small slight pause right when we throw it, just like that. And the issue with that is that the server is handling all the physics being involved, so we can just set all the physics that's happening for the client to handle all of it. And that'll stop the pausing like that. So yeah, so we can change those two things. In the knife right here, we can set the can collide to false. Make sure this is the one in the server storage. And we can also stop the lag by going to our knife script and adding in one more line. We can add in knife clone, set network owner to the player. Okay, so this stops the lag by setting the client to handle the physics. Okay, so we can try this one more time, and before we try it, we should probably add in a rig to show you guys that it actually damages players. So I can add this in, and I can unanchor the humanoid root part, just so the body falls apart and we can see that in action. Click play here, we can grab our knife, and so we'll test out the can collide first. Perfect. So now the knife goes through objects instead of bouncing off. And we can try one more thing. We can throw it in the air. And if you notice, there's no more lag anymore. It's fully smooth, and it's being thrown from the hand. So that's perfect. And now we can try damaging the dummy. So let's try that. And there we go. It doesn't damage the dummy more than one time because we set the destroy for the clone. And it does 35 damage each time. And so it can kill humans just like that. So you guys have created a fully functioning knife throwing model with the trail, the damage, and all the collisions and everything like that. You guys can change the trail color by going into the knife trail right here, and you can change the color. You can change it to something like black or red or anything that you like. And I can just go review the script one more time. If you notice, we have the speed right here. So you guys can change the speed to something higher or lower, depending on what you like. And we have the range of the knife right here too. So you can change the 2 to something else, to a higher number if you want to go further, or a smaller number if you want it to disappear sooner. We also have how long the knife stays on the hand, and how long it stays transparent. So this is how long that would take. And on the knife client side, we have the cooldown for how fast we can throw the knife. So you guys can change this number. If I change it to 0.1, you can just spam click and the knife will be thrown a lot of times. Just like that. Okay, so you guys can make your own knife and basically customize all the styling and things like that. But in our next video, we're actually going to be making the animations for how when we throw the knife, it looks like our player is actually throwing it instead of just standing still. So in our next video, we're going to be working on that. My name is Zach, this is Griffin Learning, and I'll see you guys in the next video.